Hello, my name is Annalise Parks. I'm a junior at Lake Forest College, majoring in French communication and politics with a minor in Spanish. I'll be talking about my experience in Granada, Spain, which is located a little bit to the west. It's central southern Spain. But the stars denote other parts of southern Spain that I was able to travel to in the time I spent in Granada. Going into Granada, I was desperate to have the most lively, most invigorating experience possible. I had studied abroad in Paris, France the previous fall, and as much as I love the City of Lights, I couldn't help but remember feeling swept up in the crowds of tourists, of models, of the regular metro rush. In my more conventional circumstances, I'm a pretty ambitious person. I don't like to be subject to my situation or anyone else's plan. Although I had read that Granada was one of the smaller cities in southern Spain, I was completely overwhelmed when I entered the country. I saw dreadlock whipping, tattoo-clad students breakdancing in the streets, only to collect their earnings and run to catch their bus to their respective facultad, or college university. I saw random dogs wandering the streets, only to find out that they were domesticated, probably better dressed than I was. I saw strikes every 2 to 3 weeks on the buses that would make the transportation situation a lot more difficult for me. I remember this one strike in particular called La Huelga General, where the entire country of Spain shuts down for one day to protest the economic situation. And I'm all about cultural immersion, but I had to go get this grammar book for one of my classes. And there was one grammar book store open. So I ran to that store, and it was seemingly calm, but then there started pounding started on the walls. All the doors and walls and books started coming off the shelves. And they're like, get your book, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And it was protesters breaking into their store because they were upset that they weren't respecting La Huelga. So that was definitely a type of cultural immersion I wasn't prepared for. I seemed to be a little lost initially, but I figured out that Granada's culture is adaptable enough for me and its citizens to embrace. There are a lot of different cultures that make Granada what it is today. There's a lot of Jewish influence, but I think the influence that trumps anything else is the Moorish influence from its Mediterranean neighbor, Morocco. You can see in these tiles some writing in Arabic and some Moorish designs. But in the middle here is graffiti that you would see on a daily basis walking to class or walking to go out and meet your friends. And rather than protesting against this artistic display, most Granadinos embraced it as a type of youth expression. So here's a schedule of my daily happenings in Granada. Our program forced us to involve ourselves in 3 classes. I had an elective, which is my Mediterranean policy in Spain and the European Union class. That was 2 days a week. And we had our grammar class and our internships. My internship was at a cultural management firm called Caravansac, and I had to interview for that, and if that wasn't daunting enough, I soon learned that my internship supervisor didn't speak a word of English. Yet he had a type of faith in me that I've never seen in any other person. Most of the time we were able to communicate, but when there were certain, bricks in the road that we couldn't overcome, we had our friend Google Translate to help make things a little easier. I think that my experience in Granada was greatly aided by one man in particular. His name was Antonio. He's my grammar professor. He was a different type of teacher. He was so understanding of the fact that it's hard to take 3 hours of Spanish grammar a night after going to your internship and going to your other classes. So he instead tried to immerse us with cultural activities like charades and scavenger hunts. But he understood that it was important to relate to our backgrounds, our cultures. So he allowed us to have a Halloween party and a Thanksgiving party. But for Halloween, he made us write ghost stories all in Spanish. And for Halloween, we wrote a play on the Thanksgiving story where I was the bird, the turkey, and my friend was the pilgrim, and my other friend was an Indian. Another instrumental part in my experience were my host parents, Ilde and Mari. They were always eager to help, always patient with my Spanish, always encouraging me to go out. And oftentimes we were going out together. They would bring me to their favorite soccer teams' games in high end, and that started the traveling throughout Spain that I took part in. I don't know how I would have survived without them. In addition to my classwork and my time with my parents, I took a cooking class with a chef named Javier Vilches. And I love being able to meet new students and learn how to cook some of Spain's greatest cuisine, like albóndigas and magdalenas and tortilla española. And obviously I'm really comfortable in the kitchen, as you can see. So it was definitely a learning experience. Another class that I took was belly dancing, but for your eyes and my dignity, I decided not to include any pictures of that. When I wasn't too inundated with homework or class or internship work, I would be outside of Granada. I was able to travel throughout Spain with the program to Cordoba, Sevilla, Ronda, but other trips that I planned were Madrid and Barcelona, and of course my beloved Paris. However, the trip that trumped all trips was my trip to Morocco. We started in Gibraltar, which is on the southernmost tip of Spain. We visited the legendary Rock of Gibraltar, played with the monkeys, who were like stray dogs in Gibraltar, and ate fish and chips because it's a British colony. We moved on to Morocco, woke up at about 4:30 to catch a ship crossing the Mediterranean, where we went to a women's shelter, learned about gender relations in Morocco, and ultimately that influenced a lot of our perceptions about Moroccan culture. These people were scraping their plates on to give us food when they were in no position to host, but they were just more generous than I've ever seen. It completely changed my perception of Mediterranean relations and any stereotype that I would have had before. I think that what Granada taught me the most was not to be so concrete in my beliefs and so concrete in my perception of myself and give myself a little bit more credit. As Granadino poet Federico Garcia Lorca said, life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. And I carry that mantra with me every day. So thank you for your time in this session.